Actually, no, we're starting with Representative Anna Paulina, whatever the fuck her last name is. Says, Kamala Harris has not done a single press conference in the last 72 days. What is she hiding? Nothing. She's done interviews. I don't...
She's done fewer interviews than previous candidates. However, if you look at the nature of the campaign, she has had less time to do these, for one. And two, if we're being
she's actually
honest,
fucking working?
If we're being honest, her, just like how Donald Trump's media team will do everything in their power to prevent him from getting on a debate stage against Harris again, Harris is not strongest in interviews. Harris is not strongest when she is giving interviews, when she is doing this type of media thing. She is strongest when she has an opponent that she is able to show up. That is something that she is able to do expertly. But when it comes to the one-on-one interviews or just the answering questions from the press, this is not something that is her biggest strong suit. So a competent media team would definitely say, hey, maybe it's better for you to hold a rally than it is for you to hold a press conference. One of these is going to work far better for your campaign.
Okay. Putting that aside, though, because who fucking cares? Whatever. Bridget Gabriel says, America doesn't have a president right now in response to this. Like, you know Kamala's not the president, right? You know Harris is the vice president?
No, that's wrong. You can't bring logic into this. No, stop.
It's like, yeah, no, of course Biden's not doing press conferences. He's out presidenting and shit.
No, you can't make me think about truth and
my God,
important things.
Today. I'm running out of hats. I don't normally... Oh, fuck. I think I threw out the actual wig for this, but I just have the beard. So we'll call this a hat.
You'll call it a hat?
Yeah.
Sure. It's your Christmas rhino. Let's go.
What? What'd you say? I didn't hear you.
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to continue not saying anything.
And I have an editor now, so I will never see this. I'll never see what you did say.
Exactly.
So
I think.
Yeah, we'll call this a hat. Yeah, so Bridget Gabriel doesn't seem to be aware of the fact that Kamala is not the president. She's the vice president. So, yeah. She's an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Burt Macklin posted a picture of Trump, clearly AI generated, building a house or whatever in short shorts.
Why is he so big compared to the house?
Because AI doesn't know what the fuck it's doing.
What even is perspective?
Yeah. Also, I do like that the AI picked up on the fact that Trump has tiny hands, because his hands are disproportionately small as well. But he
gets the itty bitty hands.
But he says Donald Trump will rebuild even if he has to do it himself. To which Colin Rugg, a real political commentator, supposedly, says, "Is this a real photo?"
But
like, obviously, fucking not. Why
would you think that's a real photo? In what world?
Even if you pretend that this doesn't have that weird AI look to it, where every AI picture, no matter how photorealistic, it's just like something is off, like everything is uncanny valley about it, and you can't quite figure out why. I don't know if you get that, but
no, I get that.
When I see an AI picture, almost immediately I pick up on it, and usually it's not oh, the fingers are weird or whatever. It's just
it's just
something is off, and I can't even put my finger on it, and the lighting is weird. I don't know, but putting that aside, we know Trump is not that muscly. We know that Trump would never be caught dead wading through floodwaters in short shorts and a tank top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jester says, perspective is forced, duh. Indeed. Sure, but just the fact that this person could be fooled by that and say, oh, is this a real photo? And actually, not know.
Is this thing real?
It's no, it's not real. It is very obviously not real. How can you possibly think that that was real? Have you not seen any pictures of Donald Trump in the last, like, 10 years.
I don't know what a picture of Donald Trump looks like. Unlike MAGA people, I don't tend to stare at them that much.
You don't have to stare at them that much. You just have to glance. You see how this guy has muscles? Trump doesn't have muscles.
Yeah, it's true. There's an account on Twitter that makes it a point to talk about fashion, like usually men's fashion, suits and stuff like that, and had a long ass thread on how all of Trump's attire is meant to hide the fact that he's overweight.
Sean redeemed a hydrate, so I have to take this off. Unfortunately, I'm so sad that I must take the beard off to do the hydrate.
Oh no.
Oh no. That is so disappointing.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you for the hydrate. Yeah, no, he does stuff to hide the fact that he's fat, but he is fat. Like, it's another thing. Like, the AI generated image here, like, got a nice butt.
His
Trump
arm
does not have a nice butt.
His arm is in front of his stomach, so we can't see what it looks like. Even the AI hides his tum-tum.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm trying to fat shame Trump.
Do you remember when we had a stream that was titled "Come Come on My Tum Tum"?
I believe I suppressed that memory.
We did have that stream. That was the one where someone was saying that, like, the reason men have hair on their bellies is because they come on their bellies. You don't remember that? You legitimately forgot about that?
I did forget about this, yes.
It's like my favorite thing ever.
Jesus.
I'm just like, anytime I want to grow extra hair somewhere, just gotta come on it.
You know,
male pattern baldness, come on your own head.
Come on your head. I wonder if there's some actual, like, legitimate science that says, "Oh, by the way, the pores that are not the pores, but the follicles that clog up."
I'm pretty sure I found that one because I follow the account Bad Medical Takes. So no, there is no science behind that. Fennec is saying, look at the link I just put in chat. politicalflare.com/2019/01/Donald Trump often gives cable news interviews in just his underwear. What? I gotta find somewhere where it's clickable. Oh, you're making me go back. Sorry, it's not cropped well, but Donald Trump often gives cable news interviews in just his underwear. Let's file this under information you never wanted to know. According to Anthony Scaramucci's wife, Donald Trump often calls it. Oh, when he's just calling in. Okay. I mean, I can't fault him for being in his underwear when he's calling in. I am wearing pants currently, but I can't promise that I'm always wearing pants.
I am wearing pants currently only because I was out at a canvassing office.
There's literally an outtake in one of my fairly recent videos where I had to explain why my partner just like barged into the room and was like, "You're so handsome." I was like, she's only saying that because I'm in my underwear. Because you can't see my underwear. There's another video where you actually see my butt as I stand up and you see that I'm wearing a thong. I actually had to... I forget why I had to remind her of this, but I had to remind her not too long ago. It was like, no, I have worn your underwear. Because she was like, no, you have not worn...
The lingerie?
Yeah.
The lingerie video?
Yeah, where I that was one of the outtakes, it was the joke, is that I'm wearing my suit up top and then just a thong on the bottom. So I borrowed one of her thongs. You're probably thinking of the one where I rolled across the bed in lingerie. That was that was my dead wife's lingerie.
That's far more morbid.
I'm sorry.
Well, now I will never unknow that.
I'm a horrible human being. What can I say?
These are things.
I'm like, I can't give this to a thrift store, so let's just give them one more go before they get used. Okay. Next tweet. Shall we do the next tweet?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next tweet.
Yeah. Sweet.
Okay. This is a multi-part. So what I'm hearing from you is that you'd rather talk about me wearing my dead wife's underwear than Cameron Bertuzzi.
Ever talk about Cameron? Yes.
Okay, but this is not really about Cameron. This is more about Philip Goff. So if you're not familiar, Philip Goff has been a not an atheist philosopher, but an agnostic philosopher. Cameron called him an atheist. He never used that word for himself. He referred to himself as an agnostic. So this is a lesson in framing. So Cameron tweets out, "Big news, Philip Goff has just announced his conversion to Christianity on our channel. He's been an atheist most of his life. In our interview, we discussed the specific arguments that brought him to faith." So if you just get this from Cameron, an atheist philosopher has now become a Christian. An apologetic argument has convinced him that Christianity is true.
Yeah, that's not what he actually did, though.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that, because I have Philip Goff is next.
Okay, because I actually know this series of tweets.
I know you know this. I know you know this. So this is why I'm cutting you off before you spoil it.
Yep, I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah, so so this is about framing and how apologists like to play fast and loose with the truth in order to make their position look better than it is. So he says that, like, oh, he's converted to Christianity. So that's how Cameron, the Christian, phrases it. Let's see how Philip Goff phrases it. "After a long period of careful reflection, I've decided a certain heretical form of Christianity might be true. The full story is in this article, comments welcome, which I promise to respond to." I read most of the article. I got bored like 3/4 of the way through and stopped. But basically, his version of Christianity is, yeah, I believe that there is some form of deistic God out there who is very limited, and the reason he created in the way he did with the Big Bang and evolution and all that is because he has limited power, so he couldn't just create things perfect the way they are. He could only do the Big Bang and then wait for intelligent life to begin. And then the Jesus thing, that's not actually salvation from hell in the way that most Christians today would understand it. What that is it's salvation in this, like, it's actually just like this limited God working towards creating his perfect universe as the intelligent life develops. So, like,
yeah, that's very different.
That's Christianity in the same way that, like, me masturbating is sex.
Yeah, and that it's
like,
not Christianity at all. That's just a form of deism.
Yeah, it's deism with, yeah, okay, the Jesus thing could have been the deistic God doing a thing.
Yeah,
like, he says right in his own post that it's heretical, but, like, Cameron's like, no, he converted to Christianity. A heretical form of it. A version of Christianity that Christians would agree is not Christianity. And yeah, they're like, Cameron is still on Twitter. Like, I didn't pull the latest one, but he, like, was subtweeting people being like, oh, well, you know, imagine if David Hume converted to Christianity, and, like, people back in David Hume's day being like, oh, you're not a real Christian though. Would people really be doing that? And like
wait, well, hold on. Are you saying people never know true Scotsman?
Yeah, no, well, like, if David Hume's version of Christianity was like, I suppose maybe something heretical might be true, then yeah, the Christians of that day would have been like, no, that's not actually Christianity. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jester Lord of Fools says, a few months ago, I shared your link tree for the transpositions Discord. I'm still getting thanked for sharing, so thank you for doing the work. Thank you for that, Jester. So if you're not familiar, if you go to trans.vicerhino.com, that is a forward that will take you to a link tree that has all sorts of, it's mostly peer-reviewed research regarding trans people, the fact that trans people are real, the fact that gender affirming care has the best outcomes, the fact that gender affirming care for minors is fine, the fact that allowing trans people to participate in sports is fine. I just added the one that we talked about earlier where, like, gender affirming surgeries don't actually happen, and when they do, it's usually with cis kids, not trans kids. The fact that gender affirming surgeries have, like, zero regret. Like, there's all sorts of peer-reviewed research, and it's like, it's a massive list. I reorganized it on the back end today, like, not in a way that's visible on the list, but, like, if I need to, like, reorder things, it'll be easier in the future. And it took me so fucking long just to do that because there's so many peer-reviewed scientific articles that are just like affirming that trans people are real and their experiences are valid and they should be treated like human beings. Like, that's literally all it is. So yeah, research.vicerhino.com. Feel free to share that with people. Feel free to go through it yourself, and like if you feel like arguing with transphobes, you can find specific things that respond to the claims that they make and drop them in there. If you don't feel like arguing with transphobes, that's fine. Just by virtue of the fact that they are online, you do not owe them your attention. It is perfectly valid to be like, no, I don't have the spoons for this today, so I'm just going to
not deal with it.
On the flip side, you can just like drop the link to like what I did. I think we talked about this last week with Benny Schetz, where he was like, "Oh, debate me about trans people."
No, I'm not going to debate you on my kids.
Yeah, no, I got so fucking mad because like, and this is the thing when it comes to stuff like trans issues, is that for the people debating in favor of just letting trans people exist, it is extremely personal, and so Benny Schetz can come in and academically, like in a debate setting, he would probably win because he would not get emotional. Whereas I would get extremely angry and yelly and like, you are attacking my children, you're bullying my children. Because
when you're literally just doing what any parent would do.
Now, like mine is backed up, like my position is backed up by science, but I would not be able to keep my emotions out of it because it is so personal to me. Whereas he would appear to be more level-headed and rational just by virtue of the fact that he's not getting emotional. But like in this case, it's like, you don't get to debate my kid's right to exist.
Yeah.
And so like, that's why I don't debate like that. That's not up for debate for me. This is like, hey, here's a list of a big, long, like it's a huge list of scientific research that says that I'm right. You're wrong. There's no debate here. I'm not going to argue with you. And that's all it is. And like, and this is where like they see it as like, because we can do it without getting emotional, we win. But like, no, you don't get to debate my kid's right to exist. I'm sorry.
Imagine saying that a parent going off the handle trying to defend their kid is a bad thing. This is how the internet fucking poisons us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. And that's why I'm not, like, if he wants to come on my channel and debate about young earth creationism, fine, I'll debate that. But like at this point,
you're not having to defend your kids.
At this point, I know he's going to bring up trans stuff, and it's like, no, you are now saying that my kids don't have a right to exist, and you want to execute my children? No, fuck that. You fuck your face. I don't fucking care.
No, I'm just saying that they deserve to burn forever in a lake of fire because that's somehow better.
Yeah, and that's even like, I know when I was streaming in Mexico, I kind of like had an existential moment where it's like, oh, fuck, these people actually want me dead, as I was like processing the fact that like, oh, I'm now not a straight guy talking about the LGBTQ community. I'm like in it as well.
Yeah.
And like that, it hits differently that way. But even that, it's like, I could still put that aside for the sake of a debate. But like, no, when it comes to my kids, like, nah, fuck you. I am protecting my kids. You fuck off.
You can't put it aside anymore. You're a parent acting the way we expect a parent to act.
Yeah. It's like, I can pretend that I don't care about myself, but like my kids, no. Absolutely not.
And it makes sense.
Anyway, I forget how we got here from there, but Cameron's a bigot too, so I'm not surprised that we got there from there. And then this is also related. So he read Philip Goff's article. Craig says, my God, how many people have hat things? Like, all I have left is the fucking mask, which I can't do with the thing, and devil horns, which are annoying as fuck. So let's do the devil horns then. I'm gonna have to start repeating hats. There we go. Devil horns. So Craig, this is still with regards to the Philip Goff thing, says, I read his article. He's a baby Christian that understands Christianity as much as a baby. Okay, first off, like, use a different word. If you're going to insult someone, at least be creative about it. Like, use a different word in the first half of the sentence than the second half. You're a baby who does things like a baby.
Under a baby Christian who understands it as much as you'd expect an infant to. Like that's a that at least you're saying the same thing.
You're saying the same thing, but at least this is a different word. Makes you sound more intelligent. And he says he has a brilliant intellect that is blocking his ability to understand the basics. He's so smart that he can't believe in Christianity.
No.
Okay. What does that say about Christianity? Oh, you're so smart that Christianity just doesn't make sense to you. I'm sorry that it doesn't make sense to you, but because you're too smart, you're going to burn in hell forever.
Yeah, no, we can just not do that. We can just not do that. That'd be good.
Yeah. I just finished recording a Mike Wing. My schedule is really weird right now because I hired the editor. So I haven't seen the final copy of my video that's supposed to go live to patrons tomorrow morning. So I'm just like, fingers crossed. I did a good job hiring. Because I wasn't editing, that allowed me to actually like find a video and like write out a response to it. So like I'm a little bit ahead. So I'm very confused schedule wise. Anyway, I forget where I was going with that. What were we talking about?
We were talking about baby Christians and linguistic faux pas.
Right. So I'm responding to Mike Winger.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? So he just posted today. I think it was today, might have been yesterday, but he just recently posted about how like pastors need to be willing to admit when they're wrong and accept correction and everything. I'm just like, literally responding to a video of you that is you behaving in the way that you are accusing other pastors of behaving here. And like down to the fact that like his whole thing is like, it's the Bible seems to be saying bad things, but if you know the context, it's not actually that bad. And he's talking about I think his Numbers 31, the one where it's like you can like kill all the men, women, and children except for the young girls. Those take for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, oh, atheists say that this is promoting killing and sex slavery.
But is it really?
But is it really? And so he's like, oh, but the context though. But he spends like the first half of the video talking about how stupid it is to laugh at the idea that we're saying more context makes it better. And atheists are foolish and stupid and ridiculous and horrible. And then when he finally gets to the actual explanation, it's like, at this point you have poisoned the well so that like, even if a Christian listening to this hears your explanation and thinks like, oh, that doesn't make a lot of sense, they are now going to keep that to themselves because they are now primed to think that if it doesn't make sense to you, you are a foolish, idiotic, irrational atheist who just wants to hate God or whatever. And it's like, and then he gives the context, like the last little bit of the video, he finally tries to give the context, and the context makes it worse. And he gets the context wrong. He refers to two separate genocides and thinks that they are the same genocide. And it's like, that's actually that's two genocides where they learned from the first genocide how to do the second genocide more efficiently. You think that's a good thing? No, that's not a good thing. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
And then he brings up the marriage laws, like how like, oh, well, according to the Deuteronomy marriage laws, if you weren't happy with the sex slave that you stole from a neighboring city when you conquered them, you had to let her go free after you shaved her head and cut her nails and stripped her of all her clothes. Like, and
you have to set her free after you do all of these things that are basically torture.
But he says that the Bible says that, like, because the Bible does explicitly say at that point, she is not a slave. It's like, if you conquer her city and take her against her will, and then like the setting her free thing, that is entirely on the man. The man has to decide that he doesn't want her anymore, and so is setting her free. So the woman has no choice in the matter. She has to marry this guy. And it is explicitly stated in the passage that sex is a part of that. How is that not sex slavery? Like, yeah, the Bible,
because reasons.
Like, the Bible says, yeah, it's not slavery, but like the Bible saying this isn't slavery though doesn't make it not slavery. It is
Maurice
effectively
Bear,
slavery.
thank you very much for the resubscription.
Oh,
it's not slavery because they said so.
It's not no, because the Bible said so, but the Bible got it wrong, so it's still slavery.
No, I said
anyway,
so, and I'm the pastor, and I'm the voice of God.
That's not this Friday, that's next Friday, so keep an eye out for that one. That one's fun. And by fun, I mean it's my first video in a long time that I've actually issued a content warning at the beginning because there's a lot of talk about like sex slavery, and specific to that passage, it's actually child sex slavery, which Mike just brushes over without really mentioning.
Why is the voice of God called Megatron? Well, you see, the reason is because God can turn into a gun.
Yeah.
That's why.
Tiefling Rhino. Speaking of tieflings, my partner and I and my family, we finally got around to watching the D&D movie the other night.
I heard it was really good.
She kept on glaring at me with a "I can't believe you're making me watch this" kind of face. And I've made her watch some terrible fucking movies. I think so. It wasn't bad, but like it wasn't good either. It was like enjoyable, but like it's a fun little romp where things don't really make sense, and like if you're coming at it from a perspective of like this is a thing that would happen as I'm playing a game of D&D, it can be fun. But like as a typical movie structure, it doesn't really work because there's a lot of things that like, oh, that is the dungeon master throwing this in because the players got off track again. And it's like, as someone who has played D&D, that makes sense to me, and I kind of related to that or whatever, but like she doesn't play D&D, so it's like, that's just stupid. Why would they do it that way? Why does this character even exist?
The plot of the movie doesn't make any sense. It's not about the plot. It's about how much the DM lets us get away with.
Yeah, no, but yeah, no, I thought it was a fun movie, but at the same time, I recognize that it was not a good movie. She's saying it was terrible.
Fair. That's fair.
It was a good movie in the same way that The Core was a good movie, in that it's not. It's just fun.
I actually really like The Core.
I know, so do I. But it's not a good movie.
I really, really like when they get underneath and they start seeing all the geodes. It's a very pretty scene.
It is, but it's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid.
It makes no sense.
And then Stanley fucking Tucci, just mwah, love Stanley Tucci. He's great.
I enjoy The Core, and I need to watch it again at some point.
Yeah, it's fun. It's the lightning strikes that cause stone to burst into fire.
Yeah. Nothing in that movie makes actual sense.
So great. I love it. Clay Higgins. Content warning here. This is extreme racism. Says, LOL, these Haitians are wild, eating pets, voodoo, nastiest country in the Western Hemisphere, cults, slapstick gangsters, but damned if they don't feel all sophisticated now, filing charges against our president and VP. All these thugs better get their mind right and their ass out of our country before January 20th.
Is he actually a representative of the United States?
Yep. This is not that guy that represents, what is it, the California's 54th district. He's a satire account that everybody falls for all the time. But no, Clay Higgins is a real guy who really represents.
Oh, he's Louisiana. He's Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
Area XD, God fucking damn it!
Ooh. Ooh.
Fuck off!
Ooh.
Eat turds!
Eat ooh turds!
Oh, whoa. Maurice Bear, also thank you for resubscribing. I appreciate the money in these trying times of...
I appreciate the ooh.
No.
Don't let Suris fool you. No matter how much he says he needs money, he hates the oohs more than he hates poverty. And I love that. So keep coming with the oohs.
Thank you for the hydrate, Sylvie. Fine, I'll say those words. Oh whoa, they're better than the other words. Oh whoa. Oh whoa.
Ooh, small beans, little babies.
Oh whoa.
Ooh, small beans, little babies.
I don't know why. Like, it's supposed to pick random ones, but it goes to the Hbomberguy one most frequently. There's like 7 oohs on there, and we heard 3 Hbomberguy saying "ooh, small beans, little babies."
Jeez. Loophole discovered. Yeah, for now. Fuck off.
You don't have to wait for points. If you come to my YouTube channel and super chat me $2 and tell me to push the ooh button, I will.
Oh whoa.
I will smash this button.
Oh whoa.
Ooh,
Oh whoa.
ooh,
Oh whoa.
ooh.
Oh whoa.
I don't. What? It loves Hbomberguy. I mean, I can't blame it. Hbomberguy is fucking amazing, but
Hbomberguy is great.
But like, that's supposed to be random, but it kept going to him like every other ooh.
It just really wants him.
Don't we all?
Look, there are some people that have wants, and then there are those that have needs.
You know what? I am going to email Hbomberguy or like find a contact form or something that will allow me to contact him and see if he wants to come join us on a Thursday. I do not expect him to say yes. I do not expect him to even notice that we contacted him. But on the off chance that he does say yes, both of us will be like giddy schoolgirls.
I'll take it.
Yeah, 100%. And he's in the UK, so we're probably going to need to do it at like noon or something instead of 8:30. But
yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll take it. He's either going to say no, or he's not going to even notice that we contacted him. But I'm going to try. Anyway, Joel Berry. So first, Chief Nerd said, International Longshoremen Association President. So this is the strike. Harold Daggett on the looming port strike says, I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Joel Berry says, this goon should not be allowed to unilaterally shut down America's economy. Each port should have a different union. One union shouldn't control all of them.
No, one union controlling all of them is exactly what you want.
Like, that's the point.
That is the point of a union, is to not have it fractured. The point of a union is to have enough people that can do group advocacy for themselves.
What this guy is trying to say is that, like, oh, we want unions so that we can have the appearance of workers having rights and shit, but we don't want them to actually have the ability to disrupt anything to actually cause any sort of change or whatever. But, like, no, the fact that they are all connected and all doing this at the same time, that is what will cause the disruption that will make people be like, oh, hey, these people are actually important. Maybe we should pay them as though they are important.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, no, if the economy can't survive without the dock workers, maybe we should pay the dock workers as though the economy can't survive without them.
And I'm glad that this time around, Biden decided not to do what he did
with the trains.
Because what happened with the trains is Biden ended up getting a bunch of wins for the railway workers after everything was said and done. So the only information that ended up getting out for the most part was that Biden was, quote, anti-union because he made the railway workers work, which was it was an argument that I had until my friend Inane Dragon had to come in and give me the information on, hey, by the way, he did this, yes, but in a follow-up, he did massive things for them to make sure that it was worth their while and to make up for that.
I'm sorry, this is completely unrelated, but I once had Inane Dragon read out, like, when I was responding to an article, I had him read the article and then I would respond to it. And I thought I made it clear in the intro to that video, but apparently I didn't make it clear enough. But it's an older video, so I don't get many comments on it anymore. But like, still, when I get comments on it, it's always like, oh, this guy sounds like he's over the top ridiculous. I can't believe this person actually believes this stuff. Like, no, that's someone, like, no, he doesn't believe that stuff. He's on my side. He's just reading the article.
He's parodying it.
But yeah, so that's a really old video. Like, Inane Dragon and me go way back to like my early days as a YouTuber.
I like Inane Dragon. He's good people.
He is good people.
I need to visit him at some point. Every time that I've passed through his state, the problem is he's on the east side of his state, and whenever I travel through, I'm on the west side of his state.
Man. Fucking east. It's an East Coast elitist. I don't understand that, like, the MAGA people will talk about East Coast elitists, but like Donald Trump is from New York City, and you guys think he's a billionaire. He's literally an East Coast elitist. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
He's not like you. He's just convinced you that people who are not like you are your enemies.
Yeah. I don't understand why this election is so close. You guys are like, Americans need to get their fucking act together, man. This should not be close. It should not be close. This should be a landslide Harris victory just because Trump is a fucking idiot.
It should be. But, you know, it ain't.
Yeah, I know. Joey, we got a few Joey tweets today. It says, Trump is not a fascist.
Yay.
Calling him a fascist makes you a fascist. End of story.
Calling him a spade makes you a spade.
This is just know you with a few extra words. Like,
Yeah.
come on, Joey, come on. We don't need to dwell on this, though, because we got more Joey coming. It says, I personally, this one struck me personally here, because he said, I personally have never met anyone who was improved by psychotherapy. Have you? So there's me, there's my partner, there's my kids, there's
me.
You.
I've had therapy.
Yeah. My partner is a therapist. And part of being a therapist is like knowing when to go to a therapist yourself, because like you are now dealing with other people's shit on top of your own. So like you need therapy for that. So yeah, therapy is good. Everybody should go to therapy. Therapy should be covered by OHIP, which is our government healthcare here in Ontario.
Therapy should be covered by, well, coverage.
Yeah, I fucking hate that therapy is so goddamn expensive. Like, anyone who's like a little bit savvy can probably figure out approximately what we make from YouTube stuff based on information that's publicly available. Most of my money goes to feeding my kids and giving my kids therapy.
Most people know what I make from YouTube because I throw the numbers at them.
Yeah, I've seen you do that, and that always makes me super uncomfortable because I'm like, no private data. Like, and I get that, like, transparency, fine, whatever. And like, I also live mostly off of people giving me money out of the goodness of their hearts. It's like, on the one hand, I understand that like maybe there should be some transparency there, but on the other hand, it's like, but these are my personal finances. But also, like, I have 5 kids.
As I've said before, my thing is it is a personal thing on my end. It is not a standard I think anybody else needs to have. But I know that there's people who have started doing content creation because of my channel, just like people have started doing content creation because of your channel. And one of the things that I try to do is make sure that they have a realistic idea of what content creation is going to actually look like for them. Because if you have all your eggs in the basket of YouTube, here's your paycheck. It is not a living wage. Have fun.
Oh, it changes every month. Like we were just discussing offline, like how the watering hole, but like my numbers on the watering hole have gone up enough that like I'm making like $200 more on the watering hole than I do normally. But on my main channel, I'm making $200 less. So it's like, on the one hand, it's exciting that my smaller channel is growing, but on the other hand, it's like the channel that I pay the bills with is shrinking. And that's scary.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's one of those, like, I make enough money to be comfortable, but at the same time, like, there's not a lot of wiggle room there. Now, to be fair, to be clear, Suris is the one that's begging for money here, because Suris got bills to pay, and I am the bigger YouTube channel. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not. So like I am comfortable. Like I'm not like it's not like if my YouTube paycheck is a little bit lower than expected, I'm now destitute. And I expect, like, anyone who's going to be my patron, I expect that you like pay your bills first. If you are hurting for money, don't give me money. But at the same time, patreon.com/vicerino would be nice.
Clueless Expert, thank you for gifting out 5 community subs.
Now come to my channel.
Now do it again.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, make sure you take care of yourself first. I do not want to be the cause of someone else having trouble paying their bills.
Now do it again.
Yeah, I don't want to cause you to have trouble paying your bills, but like, feel free to give me money. Clueless Expert says I might give 5 subs next week, and I appreciate it. Do some collabs. I finally, I guess, I don't know if it was you guys or if Sir Six audience on their own just remembered that we mentioned it, but Sir Six emailed me last week being like, hey, my audience was on me reminding me that we said we were going to do a thing. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I told Sir Six to like pick any Thursday. I actually gave him the choice. Either, like, if you want just an informal we chat for a while, pick a Thursday. If you want an actual structured tweets thing where it's still pretty informal, but like there's kind of a structure, pick a Wednesday. So like the ball is in Sir Six court, whatever day works for him. And I don't know if this works for you, Suris, but I pretty much said like, yeah, I know you're in the UK, so like if we need to do it at a different time during the day, that's fine.
I'm A-okay with it.
I just assume that we can work something out.
Yeah, for the time being, I don't have a schedule that is like super tight. I have a lot of stuff that has to be done, but it's on a semi-flexible schedule.
Plow King says sell some $100,000 watches to rake in the dough. Like so much has happened this week that I didn't even get into the fact that Donald Trump is selling $100,000 watches. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
And thank you, Dark Falcon, for gifting 5 memberships to the Watering Hole. Appreciate that. My kids will eat many. What are they really called? The purple waffles? Toaster strudels. They're called toaster strudels, but my kids call them purple waffles because they come in a purple box and you do them in a toaster like you do waffles. I don't know.
I guess that makes some sense.
It doesn't, but that's what they call them.
Yeah.
We also throw out the frosting because that's really bad for them, and they're already really bad for them.
God, I love that frosting though.
I know.
It's so good.
Fennec says I love toaster strudels and I'm so mad I can't eat them anymore.
I adore toaster strudels. They're so good.
This is literally the only hat I haven't worn yet, and this doesn't work with the fucking live stream unless we do this, and I can be like that orc from Lord of the Rings that's wearing just someone's dead hat on his head, or dead head on his head. Sure.
Dead head on his head.
Sure. I'm an orc from Lord of the Rings now. There we go.
Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Sure. Next
I
up.
like that. I like the Lord of the Rings.
I am Leah says, things that helped me survive Helene: a gas car, a gas stove, a gas hot water heater, a gas chainsaw, cash. Things that were useless during Helene: electric cars, electric appliances, debit cards, the city bus, the government, diversity, my tax dollars in Ukraine. So as a driver...
Diversity? Wait,
yeah, so first off, I would think diversity would actually help in an emergency situation where everybody's just like in the same boat.
As someone who survived Hurricane Ivan as one of the few white kids in the mostly black neighborhood, diversity was one of those things that really helped because people saw each other as humans for a while.
And you come together.
You came together and fucking worked on shit. It was amazing.
As far as gas car, so in a fairly short term,
everybody ran out of gas during Ivan. Okay. There was no gas.
So in a fairly short-term event like Helene or Ivan or something like that, it could actually go either way. I could see the use of a gas car and a gas stove and all that shit. But also, like I mentioned last week, my car is set up such that you can potentially power your house for a few days off of your car if it's electric. So like, if you have, I mean, my furnace is a combination of gas and electric. It needs electricity to work, but it uses gas as the fuel. But like hot water heater. Yep, gas, fine, sure. But if you have an electric one, it can work with but like my car, like if it's done properly, there needs to be like I forget what it's called exactly. It's like a back valve or something like that. Something to make sure that you're not feeding electricity to the grid when the grid workers are expecting there to not be electricity there, because that can actually kill them. So like it needs to be done properly. You can't just like plug it in and do your whole house that way. But like if you do it properly, you can power the essentials like a stove, a fridge, furnace, potentially a hot water heater for like 3 or 4 days with the battery in an electric car. And as many people in the response to this pointed out, if you are set up with solar and batteries, that can potentially last you a lot longer than gas can. It's like if you're without power for like a month, the sun still shines, whether or not the gas stations can pump gas. And if you have solar panels and a battery system, like I have solar panels on my house, I don't have the battery. So right now, if the power goes out, it doesn't matter if the sun's shining. In order to be safe for the grid workers, I cannot be producing electricity for myself because I don't have the batteries to store it. So for me right now, yeah, electric doesn't really work. But if I were to install the batteries, which would not be all that much more, technically speaking, it just didn't really work out. In an emergency situation, I now have batteries that are being powered by the solar that I can charge my car with, that I can run my house from. And that's way better than gas because I don't need to go somewhere to get the gas. It's just shining on my roof. So our gas chainsaw, electric motors are actually a lot stronger than gas motors. So like, I used to think that gas motors were better because like it's powered by explosions or whatever. But then I had an electric weed eater and a gas weed eater at the same time. The electric one just like chewed the fuck out of those weeds. So electric motors are just stronger.
Also, well, I will say that may be true for weed eaters. In my experience, that is actively not true for chainsaws.
I don't know. I've used like one chainsaw in my life.
So,
and I'm pretty sure it was an electric one, so I don't know. I can't compare it.
All of the saws that I have are electric so that they can either be cord powered or battery powered because it's convenient, right? Sean
Helfin says, why do you need an electric chainsaw unless you're doing surgery on women in history lesson people? So in an emergency situation like the flood with Helene or whatever, I could see a chainsaw being useful for like clearing out a road so you can drive through something.
So if you live in the woods like I do, we have to use the chainsaw like once every 3 weeks because we have to actively take care of foliage that if we don't keep it tame, then we lose the ability to drive down our driveway. Because branches will just dig through. And then when trees start to get too big or too thick, they become active dangers to our house when hurricane season comes around. So we have to get rid of those before they get big. And I've actually done Patreon videos where they've shown me doing tree removal on, like I've shown them me doing tree removal on my own property.
So I did mean to bring this up, but Fennec brought it up before I got to it, but they saw in the news someone's Tesla flooded and garage burst into flames. So there's pros and cons to both. In the case of electric vehicles, salt water can actually cause fire. And like lithium fire is really, really bad, and it's almost impossible to put out. You just got to wait for it to burn all the lithium away. So... yeah, no, in an emergency situation where you're getting flooded with actual salt water, electric car might not be best. So like there are pros and cons to both sides. You can't just say, like, gas is always better, or you can't just say electric is always better. You have to make that decision based on what scenario you're in. Like, I'm in a location where I'm not likely to get flooded, and if I do get flooded, it's going to be with fresh water, not with salt water, so my car is not going to burst into flames, and electric vehicles can actually drive through deeper water than gas vehicles because they don't need the air for combustion. Mm-hmm. So I can potentially get through an emergency flood better than a gas car, as long as it's not salt. And even if it is salt, if everything's sealed up properly, it should be fine. It's just one of those, like, if your car has been on the road for a few years, they're not going to guarantee that it's fine because salt fucking corrodes things. So, like, this is one of those, like, you can't just, like, put electric or gas into this is my political ideology, so I must stand by this at all costs. I will freely tell you that there are drawbacks to electric. The fire thing, like lithium fire, fucking dangerous as fuck. Where I am, not even in consideration because there's no salt water near me. If you live in fucking southern Florida in the lowlands somewhere, you might not want to buy electric because, like, if you get flooded, it might burst into flames.
Yep. It's also very, very annoying that basic ass shit gets politicized. Gas versus electric vehicles, gas versus electric tools, or, you know, the recent one that still doesn't make any fucking sense to me, raw versus pasteurized milk.
Oh God.
I don't get it. I refuse to get it.
Kill the bacteria, it's better for you. No, but we need, like, if you kill the bacteria, it also denatures protein or something that has never been actually found.
It's a fucking drink with calcium. Just put it in your mouth.
I mean, if we want to get to the real nitty gritty there, the dairy farm lobby pushing for milk to be an essential part of our diet all the time. You can do fine without milk. You can raise your kids fine without milk. They can get enough calcium without milk.
But
like, if you're going to drink milk or dairy products, the pasteurized ones are not going to kill you. So just go with that.
Yep.
And Fennec is talking about fermented foods, so I need to top up my wine. Speaking of fermented.
Hello. Former FDA microbiologist here. Raw milk infuriates me. Yeah, Heather Bunsen, I think it infuriates most of us.
Clueless Expert says true pro-lifers refuse to kill bacteria. Cheers to that.
I guess so.
Yeah. Patricia Heaton says, is it me or does the president at POTUS and Vice President Kamala Harris seem conspicuously absent from the devastation in the Carolinas? Who is in charge? Yeah, so they're absent.
Pretty sure Biden's actively been talking about the port unions in those areas. He's actually talking about this shit.
I assumed that this was about the hurricane.
The port. So the hurricane happening in that area, there was concern that Biden was going to force the port workers to continue working because of the hurricane. So there is a link there. Also, Area XD, fucking, why are there so many woos? Stream.
Hey, I had to bust out my fucking horns for the hats. I've been getting a lot of hats. Everybody's got points this week.
Fucking Rife, thank you also for the tier 1 subscription. I appreciate it from Idol.
Say it.
I already did. Ooh.
No, you just said You didn't say ooh. Hey. Come on. That wasn't a proper ooh. Do it properly, Suris.
I've now done 2 of them.
Do it properly.
2 of them.
Do it properly.
Now I've done 3.
God damn it.
You're going to get everything but what you want.
Ooh, small beans.
I have what I wanted at the push of a button, Suris.
Ooh, small beans.
Ooh.
Except it's always fucking Hbomberguy. What the fuck? Yeah, so anyway, my point here was that Harris and Biden understand that if they were to go to the... Scott Dillahunt says, ooh. Harris and Biden understand that if they go to this disaster area, they now have extra logistical stuff to consider. Like they have, like, Secret Service has to clear shit. They have to make sure that everywhere they're going is safe for them. They have to, you know, like, clear everybody that's going to meet them. And it's just this logistical nightmare to add on top of the logistical nightmare of recovering from a fucking hurricane. So Biden and Harris are managing it over the phone because that is what is easiest for the people that need the help. Trump, on the other hand, shows up for a photo op and is like, yeah, look at me. I actually care about you people because I am here disrupting services to get the photo op. So here I am. That obviously means that I care more. It's like, no, they are doing what needs to be done behind the scenes to get this shit done while Trump is out in front of the cameras.
It's infuriating.
That it is.
But don't worry, Patricia Heaton. We believe you have a good point if you're an idiot.
I was going to say, if that point is something related to the Coneheads. Oh, and that was the last one.
Who are you calling Pinhead?
Conehead. Not Pinhead. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but a Pinhead's also a Conehead. Let's be honest.
Kinda.
They look similar enough.
Sure. Why not?
You could replace one with the other.
Okay. That seems to be the end of the stream.
It does seem to be that.
Oh, Progress only said PR, the PR training. I don't know what that's with reference to, but that did remind me. I am doing, so if you guys have heard of the Creator Accountability Network, it is, it's a group of creators who have decided to be accountable. Like they saw, like there have been a few situations where people in a trusted community were behaving badly, and there was no real protocol in place for addressing those concerns. And so the Creator Accountability Network was born out of those concerns. And I have started the process of becoming credentialed with them. My training is tomorrow, so hopefully beginning tomorrow or shortly, like by next week, you should be able to go to the Creator Accountability Network website and you'll see me on there as provisionally credentialed, as long as I don't like sexually harass people for a few months. I will become fully credentialed. And
just
I feel
for a
like,
few months, though.
I feel like that's not a problem because that's not a thing that I do.
After those few months, you're free to go. You can do whatever you want. The bodies can pile high. Oh,
I don't know how that impacts this show where there's two of us. I have sent Suris the link, and whether or not Suris is going to get in time for the training that I have tomorrow, or whether it's going to take a little longer for him because he's, you know, dropping the ball or whatever.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
I don't know how it's going to work.
XD, stop with the fucking oohs. I want mercy.
Ooh, small beans, little babies.
I have to take Hbomberguy out of that. Just say it. Come on, say it.
I already did.
No, you didn't.
What?
You said what's with the fucking oohs. That doesn't count as giving an ooh. You gotta like lean into the mic and do the cute little.
Are you one of those people that say? Are you one of those people that say gaslighting isn't real and you're fucking crazy if you think so?
I have not heard you say ooh by itself for this ooh. I have just heard you say it in a sentence.
Only one person ever gets this specific, and it's you, Woo.
That's as my partner would say, that is the autism.
That's close enough.
All right, so that's it for the stream. Look into the Creator Accountability Network because I think they're doing some good work, and I am super excited about actually being involved with that. And also with the fact that I'm hiring an editor now, it's like, now it's something where it's like, it's not just me with an editor. It's like, if I do something that makes you uncomfortable, you can go to these people and you don't have to go face to face with me for that. So like somebody else will handle that for you. So like, I'm excited to be held accountable.
Hey, just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who help keep me afloat and help keep this channel going. YouTube and Twitch are wonderful platforms, but at the end of the day, stability is not one of their strong suits. If you want to support my channel, then obviously Patreon is one of the best ways of doing that. Link is in the description. But I do want to personally thank everybody who has contributed to the channel. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Autumn and Angel, Nixie Chan, Agamotto, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. And everyone else who supports my channel and lets me do what I do full time. This is a dream job of mine that I never believed that I would be able to take full time, and with your help, I've been able to do it. So thank you so very much for that. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all are having a wonderful time. I will see you all in the next one, hopefully.